You are listening to an All Games Radio Network broadcast of allgames.com. You are listening to an All Games Radio Network broadcast of allgames.com.
Allgames.com.
Hi, this is Normie from Knuckleballer Radio and Zombie Cast, and you're listening to one of my favorite shows on the Geeky Antics Network. Don't forget to check out the rest of the gang over at geekyantics.net. Warning, there might be rants and food ahead and possibly inappropriate behavior. Don't tell anybody though.
What's up, guys? Yomar here, aka YogiZilla. I just have a real quick call to action today. If you want to support the Geeky Antics Network, it's a really simple thing you could do. We give you a few links, and all you gotta do is click on them, share them, like them. You do all the social media stuff. Ideally, buy something, but it's not required of you. Of course, this is just a way to help our sponsors out and help us pay our bills, and we just humbly ask that you share these links as much as you can. No pressure, but we would greatly appreciate it. I mean, we get it. Lots of people don't have money these days, disposable income, what is that? So donating is not always a thing, but clicking links and sharing stuff on social media, I think everybody could do that. So the links are very simple. They all start with geekyantics.net/whatever, right? So one is geekyantics.net/shiny the other one is geekyantics.net/weddings, and then we have geekyantics.net/Martin Septic. And if you just share those and tell some friends, check them out, see what's out over there. And if you like what you see, definitely spread the word. I'm sure you know at least 5 people that might be at least mildly interested. And we'd greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.
You're about to listen to the Timey-Wimey Tea Time Podcast, a geekyantics.net and allgames.com production. Find out what everyone's talking about. The Doctor, of course. Doctor Who? Exactly, that Doctor. Join us live at www.twitch.tv/geekyantics. That's GeeKyantics. Hang out with us, ask questions, laugh, and have at it. We can't wait to hear what's on your minds and hearts.
Timey-Wimey Tea Time.
Greetings and welcome to Timey-Wimey Tea Time, where friends gather to talk all things Doctor Who, sci-fi, fantasy, zombies, creativity, and geekdom as a whole. I'm Yomar Lopez, known throughout the interwebs and sometimes the Whoverse as YogiZilla. Friends IRL call me Yogi. I'm a gamer, a dreamer, an author of silliness, a disgruntled techie, a wild-eyed entrepreneur, and a fistful of happy emojicon and sunshine. I ride into the battle upon a glittering My Little Pony. Out of my mouth come laughing swords of peppermint and ginger. But I'm only part of the TWTT experience. Unfortunately, today you guys are just stuck with me. And I'm also tinkering with something here on our streaming software, because we do stream on allgames.com and twitch.tv/geekyantics, if you're not familiar with that. if you're new to the show. In a little bit, we'll tell you what we're all about. I'm not a very good multitasker. The older I get, the less I can multitask. I think part of it is because I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking about stuff, and so my brain's kind of split as it is. So then if I have to split physical activities, then it's not a very good look on me, so to speak. But I try. So anyway, to our lovely friends, new and old, thanks for joining us for Tea Time today. Today is September 3rd, and this is episode 59 of TWTT. If you've been with us from the beginning, we started off as a weekly show, now we're kind of bi-weekly because it's a little more sustainable. And we're going to talk a little bit about kind of our content strategy and what the rest of the year is looking like and what things are going to look like going into 2017, which is closer than you think. And speaking of time, fall is pretty much here. A lot of us are already experiencing cooler weather. Thank goodness, because I can only take summer in small doses. You know what that means, right? Besides the more tolerable weather for most of us, it also means fall TV returns, and so does Doctor Who. So with that, we do have some announcements. Like I said, stay tuned, and we'll have a Before We Go Deeper segment, and we'll talk about some stuff there. But I think I'm going to jump right in. But before I do that, a little bit about our show. If you're new or new-ish to our Tea Time, Timey-Wimey Tea Time, you may notice that we don't talk much Doctor Who. That's because this show really has evolved into more of a platform for deep yet casual conversations about anything geeky or creative. That gives us a huge scope, right? So generally we try to stick to video games because we do stream on Twitch. We talk about sci-fi, fantasy, a lot of fandoms, whether they're anime, TV, movies, and then kind of the creative processes thereof, kind of get into the nuts and bolts of those things. And we banter a bit, but we try to keep that down. Horseplay Live is where we banter a lot, and do recommend you check out that show. That is the official talk radio show. It's a geek culture podcast, as I like to call it, for Geeky Answers Network. And I will warn you, it's NSFW, so not for the meek of heart. Now, there is a lot of overlap between this show, Timey-Wimey Tea Time, and other Geeky Antics flagship shows. But this one is probably the only one we'll ever keep clean. And I think we also do a pretty good job of focusing more on those aspects we normally don't get to, like the creative, perhaps nerdy things. Get that perspective in. So if you've been around since the beginning, we're hoping you're digging the new changes. And if you want more Who, well, send us your topics. Consider joining us as a co-host or a guest. You don't have to make every show, but if you can make a few shows here and there, that'd be great. We are looking for more podcast hosts. And remember, everyone's welcome at Timey-Wimey Tea Time. So, with that in mind, there are a few changes coming to TWTT and the Geeky Answers Network as a whole. And really don't know how to say it. This sounds like a bad news, not a bad news thing. But I'm struggling with the words because it's stuff that I've been struggling with for a while and trying to find a way to keep bringing you quality content and scale our efforts, but at the same time not burn ourselves out. Because the truth of the matter is, I run this network, and a lot of people are of the attitude, well, this is Yogi's network, so they put effort in lieu of that, because a lot of folks don't realize the network, regardless of who owns it, if it's a sole proprietorship or not, if there's profit or no profit, it's still for everyone. And I think we've done a really amazing job of promoting people. I mean, honestly, I personally, as me, Yomar or Yogizilla, my alter ego online, and also leveraging Geeky Antics Network and our resources, which are quite bountiful. We're no slouches. I would say that we promote people 99% of the time more than they promote us. So if we push for people with 20 pieces of content, we'll be fortunate if one piece of content comes back our way, and that's fine. But it also has me thinking a lot about stuff. And we're gonna get to some of the behind the scenes stuff because I want to get the community involved in this. This is a community driven network, and it's a collaborative network. which blows people's minds because usually it's a set it and forget it kind of thing, right? You join a network, maybe you play some bumpers every now and then. You mention them, maybe you have a banner, and that's it. There's not really much interaction beyond that, and we want to change that because what we're trying to do is give growing brands, give the non 1%ers, the non A-listers, a real voice. But the only way that's gonna work, the only way that's gonna be super successful, as it has been in the past, is if everybody does a little bit. So one of the opportunities I've identified is that it's been hard for us to keep consistent hosts on any show, particularly on this show. And while I could definitely do shows solo, I don't think that's fun. I can't really think of any podcast that is better for being a one-man show. Like, I think of Bobby Blackwolf show. I enjoy that show. I listen to it every now and then. But I think that would be better if there was some dialogue. Because I think it's important to get different perspectives. And to also reinforce the fact that we're not about one person's vision or ideas, everybody's ideas. You know, we have core values that unite us, but at the end of the day, everybody's their own individual person. They're independent, and you know, you have the freedom to express yourself, and that's very important to me, and I hope it's important to you. I know it is, but people don't really say it as much. So I'm considering ways to scale back TWTT. And kind of leave this live slot on all games, which right now is not working for some reason. And you maybe use the TWTT feed to introduce some pilots. I'm also working on doing native hosting on geekyantics.net. I've been playing with that on and off. There's some people that are already using our services. And I'm trying to get that as refined as possible to at least have our flagship shows covered. Because what happens if you lose your web server? Do you know if they have backups? Are you doing your own backup? Imagine losing, I mean, heck, for most, you know, you might lose 20, 30 episodes. But imagine if you have 100 plus episodes out there, 300, 400, 500. That's devastating. How do you get that show back up, you know? And our contingency plan right now is, you know, worst case scenario, if everything fails, including our backups, you know, we have some archives that are stored locally, externally, and then, you know, we could always restore a partial feed, so that's better than nothing. I also think about things like, you know, the podcasting ecosystem right now is very volatile. We got a FeedBurner, which I always get the impression that Google is gonna kind of shut that down, you know, because they don't do much to improve it or support it. But FeedBurner is something that that honestly a lot of us rely on. So that's a scary place to be. Like, think about how many, as a content creator, I know a lot of our listeners are content creators. We're putting our livelihood, our message, our content at the hands of third parties, and we're not thinking twice about it. Whether it's for free or we're paying for it, that doesn't make a difference. But a lot of us, you know, a lot of people I run into, they're focusing almost 100%, if not 100%, on a single platform, whether it's Twitch, YouTube, whatever. So what happens when that stops working for you, or that breaks, or you get banned, or you lose your data, you get hacked? So that's the whole reason that we're around, is to give people an audience outside of their single touch point, their home base, you know, and give them a better sense of the big picture. You know, so these are the kind of things I'm thinking about. You know, man, I want to jump ahead. But I don't. I just wrote that down in notes. I can remember to mention it. So here's some of the things I'm thinking about for this show. We could be seasonal and only start around when Doctor Who is, and I don't like the idea too much because then it seems like we're just kind of giving up, and I don't want to do that. I'm not a quitter. That's a slippery slope too, right? Now, skipping some shows. I'm really against skipping some shows, but I also feel like if your heart's not in it or you have other things to do, other priorities, then you gotta do what you gotta do. Just don't skip show because you're just like, I'm not in the mood. Get in the mood. There's always ways to get in the mood. But if you feel like the content's not there, you don't really have a good topics, good themes to work up, then that's a perfectly viable thing. So I think we can skip some shows and remain bi-weekly while we get some stuff going on the network. We have a lot of things in the pipeline. I don't even know where to start. And I also think about how do we keep the quality without burning out, because the burnout rate in content creation is high, and in podcasting it seems to be higher. So many shows pop up and then they stop. And I think a big reason for that is, while there's a little less production involved with podcasting, since you only have your voice to go on and the message, the content thereof, and when you start running out of things to talk about, or you're just not feeling it, quote unquote, then it's really easy to give up. So that's what it's like. I would say more than half of the shows that come out in the podcasting space don't make it that long. I mean, if you break 10, chances are you're gonna stick. If we break 50, you have really even higher chances of sticking. But the road there is tough. So this is all the stuff I kind of think about, and I also look at who will help us co-pilot efforts. So, again, community is huge. And a lot of people just, whether it's time management or they have other priorities or whatever it is, I think it just doesn't really click with them what we're doing, how huge it is, and how this is the ground level right now. So they do the bare minimum. Now, whether or not we do this, the new show is going to be a show that we've been teasing for a long time. It's still kind of, pre-production. We're going to be looking at game design. Hold on, I got a question from Tiger Claw. All right. So, Tiger Claw was asking if we have a... the Twitch stream isn't live. Oh. We were hosting someone. There we go. That's why Tiger Claw kept leaving, because we were hosting someone. Usually unhost someone if they're not streaming. That's really weird. Anyway. So, back to what I was saying. So, this show, I feel, is going to be huge because it's something that I'm super passionate about. And I'm not saying I'm not passionate about Doctor Who. I am. But with Doctor Who, I really need that consistent co-pilot that can key off for me, and we could, really go deep on that. That used to be Stan, but he's got his own path that he's taking, and I respect that. I don't want to put pressure on him. So, here's the thing. Hold on, I'm still talking to him. Oh, so all games right now. Okay. That's a weird day. So, these are going to be topics that I'm super passionate about. I have a lot of experience with at different levels. It feeds into our overall offerings, and I think it's going to fill a void because no one's really talking about these topics. There's only like maybe 2 shows I could think of that come close. Well, maybe I can count on one hand shows that come close, touch upon some of the aspects, but they still don't address the issues that I think I'm asking, that other people are asking. They fall short, or they're just not accessible. So we're gonna look at things like game design, game theory, psychology of gaming, gamification, game mechanics. So then we're gonna look at the basically the hobby side of gaming, which most people do already, but then look at the psychological aspects there, and what makes games fun, what makes games work or fail. And then also look at the behind the scenes stuff, the creative and business factors that drive those things. And I'm super excited about it. The response has been great. We already have people that are interested in joining us on the show. We'll talk about tabletop gaming and video games. Not to name drop too much, but we have Kristen Looney from Looney Labs, the creator of Flux. It's probably the game you know them for. And they have tons of expansions and variants on that game. It's an amazing game. She's down to do it. I think my pal JV, formerly from PopCap, and I think he's still working at Pluto VR. He's interested. He's down to do it, or well, he's aware of it, and I'm assuming he's interested from what he said. But I'm sure I could get him on. And he's a very busy guy, so I don't want to put pressure. I know a lot of people in the industry, so I don't want to kind of take advantage of that. I value everybody's time. I really do. But there's tons of people we could get on the show, even marketing people. Like Bob Norp over at Beancast, to talk about some of the things, that drive, commercial successes. Things like your messaging. How consistent you are with your marketing across all platforms. 'Cause a lot of time when there's a disconnect between the experience and the promise, that causes a lot of problems. We've seen that with No Man's Sky. In fact, I'm a firm believer that marketing is an ongoing thing. And if you're not constantly investing in that, then that's an issue. And there's a problem there because a lot of people are not in a position to invest monetarily. And we're going to talk about that too. We got some solutions for you. But you need to really make consistent effort, because if you're just doing marketing like most people do, which is just strictly advertising, you're doing it in spurts. You get little spikes, and then you're not maintaining that momentum. It's kind of a wasted effort. Of course, there are campaigns that you want to be short-lived to achieve specific, goals. Let's say you want to get crowdfunded, or you want people to participate in a giveaway, stuff like that, right? Or sign up to your mailing list. But marketing really is an ongoing effort. It's a living, breathing thing. You always have to constantly adjust. And I know people say, "Oh, marketing, that doesn't sound fun. Why are you talking about this?" But everybody's selling something. Everybody's marketing to an extent. When you're looking for a job, you're marketing yourself. You're selling yourself. When you're involved in consumer, buying decisions, you are involved in a marketing process, whether you want to or not. You watch a show, you're giving a signal that show is good. That's part of the marketing process as well. Because you're providing metrics, user insights, behavioral analysis. All that stuff is all involved. So marketing is the ongoing effort of aligning people, products, and principles. That's my 3 P's. People say it's time, it's timing, people, place, all that stuff. And that's the traditional look. But I look at it as you want to align the product, people, principles, and the promise. What did I just say? Sorry, I'm getting a little distracted. I think Obi wants to join. So you have the people, your consumers, and also your team members. They need to live out your core values, and the consumer needs to see your core values in action. You got your product, whatever your thing is. Of course, the place is important. We gotta talk about the place and the principles. What are your values? So maybe you say promise. Promise is an extension of the principle. But all these P's. I'm just throwing out these P's to show that basically what it is. You want people to understand what it is you're doing, and it consistently drive that home. Because if you're saying, "Hey, my thing is a product for people that like the color purple," but then the color purple barely shows up, and you're promoting things with the color green, like all your promotional materials, your website has a lot of green in it. That's a disconnect, and then you seem inauthentic. It's like, "Oh, you're a liar," and this happens all the time. And people say, "Well, you shouldn't read too into it," but that's the problem. When we have so many options for content, we have so many venues, so much content vying for our attention. You can't afford to have a disconnect between any of your touch points. You can't have inconsistency in your messaging. Not everyone likes purple. Do you like purple? No, I'm not necessarily. I just threw purple out there. I'm trying to be abstract. I mean, we have a very real examples to talk about. I've been talking with Justin Fox over at No Room LLC, and he's got a very ambitious project called Release, REELISE. If you haven't heard of it yet, did not get funded. And I told him, what's beautiful is that he's got a Christian video game that's fun for everyone, right? And it has Christian values, but it's not shoving it down your throat. And this is not the first time that there's been religious themes in the game. The Japanese have been doing it forever with Shintoism, Buddhism, Taoism, Christianity, whatever. It's all thrown in there. But to market it as a Christian video game is bold. And a lot of people, even fellow Christians, were saying you should not do this because it'll limit your market penetration. And it's true. And another sad truth is that the Christian community, a lot of my fellow Christians, I have to say, in my experience, they rather make excuses than support something that helps spread the Christian message. And I'm not trying to get religious on you. Whatever your beliefs are, cool, no worries. But we respect people, however you are, however you speak. We're a come as you are community. We're a come as you are network, and that's something we really want to keep things going. Obi wants to join the conversation. Let me bring him in here. Obi! Oh, hold on a second. For some reason, I'm not picking you up. Give me 1 second. No. Hold on. Don't say anything yet. Because it's not picking you up on... No, why isn't it? No, it's not picking up at all, like the local audio. Hold on. Because it's going to end up being a one-sided conversation. That's weird. It should be picking up. No, I disabled that. No, it's something else. Huh. That's gonna be a pain. Hold on. Let me try adjusting this. Maybe. Hold on a second. Say something now. Oh, that's why. Hold on, I figured it out. Give me 1 second. I see what it is. Why did it do that? That is really freaking weird. Now I can't hear you at all, but I know why. Say something now.
Something now.
There we go. Now it's picking you up on the recording.
All right. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Timing with me, tea time. Hashtag TWTT.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm on the soapbox right now.
Right.
There's some changes coming.
Well, I was on my way home and I jumped on the stream, or I jumped on Twitch in the car, so I plugged my phone up to the radio, and so I was listening to you in real time, like super loud. People are like, "What are you listening to?" It's a podcast. What's a podcast? Well, I had to explain it to people. It's pretty funny.
And I'll tell you what a podcast is not. It's not a video you throw up on your website and don't distribute anywhere else. Good Lord, that drives me nuts.
Oh my God, are we on this again?
No, it's just... and it just actually feeds what I'm talking about. With marketing, it's a lot of self-discovery because in our heads, we have ideas. And in our heads, everything sounds great, right? I can say, right. I can get really passionate about, I have a pocket protector, and it fixes a problem for me. But the value I see in that may not be the value that people will see in it. So I'm focusing on, hey, look, it's white and it looks really shiny. That may not be the thing that's going to resonate with people.
Right.
So,
Well, it's part of the same problem. Like when you say, okay, podcasts are not a podcast. Only if you only put it on YouTube or you only do this, it's not really a podcast. This is not syndicated. Okay. It's the same issue that people have when you say, it's oh, I do social media, but I only do Twitter. Okay, you're limiting yourself to one social media site or one social media. I just use site, I guess. And then and when you could be putting it up on, Facebook's kind of janky sometimes, but Facebook, you can put it on Instagram, you can put it on all these other social media. So when people say, well, why isn't anybody listening to my podcast? It's because you're not talking. You're not putting yourself out there. Social media is king. If you don't use it, then I'm not going to say that word. I was going to say screwing yourself, but you're messing yourself over. It's basically you're shooting your own self in the foot, basically.
And that's the thing.
That's where some of the problem comes in with, like you said, like with podcasts or not podcasts. Podcasts are not really podcasts unless you can get the word out there and get people listening to your stuff via social media or where you're putting it up at.
The thing with social media, I think most people are there because they know that it's somewhere you need to be, but most people are not being social with social media, or they're not using it in a highly effective manner.
Right, which was my problem. I said was because I'm getting a lot better at it, but it's something to where if I want people to watch my videos on my YouTube page, yes, it's a brand new YouTube page, I have to get out there and tell them. Like, I just ordered another 250 business cards because of this YouTube page. Yes. Am I making sure that I put all my information on my business cards so no matter where I'm at, people can say, oh, hey, this is the business card that I can find him right here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's another thing that came up too recently in some research we were doing, is that a lot of people were finding it hard.
I lost you there.
You lost me?
That's another thing that came up.
Oh yeah, people are finding it hard. Like, a lot of consumers and media outlets are finding it hard to engage with brands, and this is a major opportunity that a lot of people have, where they're online but they're impossible to find. Whether that's an SEO thing, an inbound marketing thing, you're there's too much friction. Like, some of these contact forms, like, all right, I know people don't like spam, but you really should not have capture images and all these layers of security before someone can write you a simple message. Because people have too many things to do, too much content vying for their attention, and then you're making it hard for them to do something that's going to help you out, and it's madness. So, yeah, there's so many things we could talk about here, but the point I'm making with the marketing thing is that there's a disconnect between our vision and what the thing really is, or what people are gonna perceive it as. The impressions and managing that brand identity. Guiding those first impressions is a huge thing, but there's even more to it than that. Like, I could talk forever about it, but people really don't realize how much there is to it. Like, the more you learn about business and marketing, and that people don't like those out there. Like, I'm an artist, I don't want to think about this stuff. You gotta be a little bit aware of it, because if not, you're gonna stumble a lot. And the more you learn about it, the more you realize you don't know.
Here's a perfect example of somebody that actually has quite a bit of content coming out, and he does new content every single day that is using social media effectively because he's getting where he wants to be. The Shook One. We've talked about him before. He's a rapper that streams, that basically when you talk in chat, he just raps about what's going on in chat. This is a guy that has done the right thing. Actually popped off and said, hey guys, I'm here, here, and here. Yes, he has some contacts in the music industry, but even if he didn't have those contacts, he got those contacts from the music industry from social media. Yep. So it's like, if you guys want a good example, go over and check him out. It's The Shook One, THES. I'm going to try to spell it out. I'm just gonna find it while Yogi's.
It's the real shook one, but then the E at the end is a 3.
Is it? I thought it was the shook one, not the real shook. Is it the real?
Yeah, now you're making me double.
I'm gonna look it up real quick, guys, for you guys. So, but
it's the real shook one. Yep.
Okay, it's one that basically, if you guys you want a real, like, hey, I want to see somebody that's actually done it right. Well, here you go. Okay. Another thing is, if you guys are listening to us right now on Geeky Antics or on Stitcher, on YouTube, on iTunes, on TuneIn Radio, on the what's the other one?
Player FM.
I say them all on Horseplay Live, but it's one, if you guys are listening to us, we're doing the same thing. Social media is key, guys. No matter what you guys are doing, whether it's video, whether it's audio, whether it's doing whatever. Social media is where it's going to happen. If you're not using it, then you're ultimately going to fail. Sorry to say it like that, but that's the realization that I had to pull from it. Like, if I don't start using social media the right way, no matter what I do, no matter how good my content is, no matter how many people I talk to or who I collaborate with, if I don't do social media, I'm going to fail at whatever I do.
And the right way is not just talking about yourself. No one wants to join a conversation that's just about you. And that's what pretty much everybody does. And it drives me nuts. Like, really, think about it. Like, I treat social media as this. Create conversations, create experiences that people want to be a part of and share. Simple. If I look at your Facebook page and it's like, I just launched this, and look at my new thing, and look at this thing, and look at that thing that I did, and it's all about you, guess what? You suck at social media.
Right. It's not all about telling people what you're doing. It's about sharing with people what you're doing and then letting them have a voice and letting them, maybe you might have another person that's, doing podcasts and be like, oh my God, you did the right thing, bro. Hey, where can I talk to you somewhere? Yeah, dude, you can join us on geekyantics.net. Just come join the crew.
Well, you gotta give. You gotta give more than you promote yourself. That's the key.
Right. And I'm gonna spell it out for you guys so you guys actually know it's the real shook one, TheRealShookOn3. So it looks like the real shook on 3. It's not. It's the real shook 1. So go check him out. And just that's what we're talking about. A guy that actually knows what's going on, where he wants to go, and how he needs to get to where he wants to be. He's doing great.
Word. And another thing he does really well before we move on is that he empowers people. He gives more than he asks for, because look, everybody he pretty much everybody goes on the channel and supports him even a little bit, becomes a mod.
You follow him. You follow him. You're a mod.
Yeah.
And then that way you can link. You can link some sweet tunes. You can link us. I have a guy right now that I was in his chat or in his channel for I don't know how many days in a row, but we were in his channel. We were talking up. I mean, he did a cool little bit where I'm trying to find it still, but he did a little bit about Geeky Antics, and I gave him all our names, like Geeky Antics, YogiZilla, Obi1X2. I did all that, and he did a little cool bit about it. It was great, but it's to the point where now I've got a guy making a beat for me, a really nice, cool. It's going to be sweet. You guys are going to love it when it comes out. But it's something to where he's making all this, and on top of it, you guys, like, every time we talk, we're talking about, hey guys, go check the shook one out. Go check this guy. Go check this guy. Just because, yes, he is doing something, and I'm going to say it, even though we just talked about it. He's doing something for me. Yes, he is. Is it something that he's just like, hey man, let me hook you up? No. He's doing it. He does it for commissions. He does it for just to live. And that's just, I'm proud to have a either an intro, outro. Like I said, we got some stuff being made, but I'm proud to have it from him because he's actually real. He's actually a guy that actually wants to be known for what he's doing. And that just right there is epic to me.
Yeah, and what helps him a lot with what he's doing, he has a laser focus on everything he does. You know what he's about, regardless of where he's at. So that makes it easier, because sometimes a lot of us have like really big plans, really huge things. And we're going to talk about this in our segment coming up, keeping things small, so that people could easily identify what you're doing and like get the essence of what you're talking about. But so back to the show that's coming up. We really have an awesome theme song. I produce beats too, if you guys didn't know. And but I also, for this one, I wanted something extra special, and I didn't feel like messing with Milky Tracker and Chiptune and all this stuff. So I asked SG Stephen Gibson from R9 Cast to do it, and he did an awesome job. I just my time is so limited now. Like, you know what, I could produce songs, but I just don't have the time right now because I'm working on app development right now and a bunch of stuff behind the scenes and working on kinks on the website, and it never ends. So we got this stuff lined up. All we need that we're working on now is like promo materials, bumpers, show logo, podcast cover. There's a lot of stuff. People don't realize how much there is involved in podcasts. That's why I get offended when people say I have a podcast. No, you don't, because there's a lot of work involved in that, and you haven't done it. So please, that'd be like me going around and saying, yeah, I'm a rocket scientist. I make rockets, and they go into space like
with science.
It's like, what? And they're like, are you? And I'm like, yeah, see, look, this is, and then I show them like a freaking like a paper towel, inner tube thing, and it looks like a rocket. See, I'm a rocket scientist. I made this rocket. It's like, no, it's the same thing. Stop it. Come on, people. Marketing. Represent yourself properly. Present yourself properly. None of this bait and switch stuff. We're also still debating the name. I know a lot of people have been giving ideas for the name on the podcast. Game Theory
I don't even
podcast.
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the new podcast, because I'm deciding that I might take a little bit of a break with TWTT because unfortunately we just don't have reliable hosts. That's the way it is, and it's not anybody's fault, but people's timer split. So
did he contact you already?
Yeah, he contacted me like this morning, the day of.
He said he was going to do it yesterday.
Yeah,
I was like.
But that's all right, But
well, that's why I hurried. That's why I was hurrying home, because I knew he wasn't there, because I just brought him to work. And I was like, "Did you talk to Yogi?" And he's like, "Yeah, I talked to Yogi. Everything's good." I was like, "Okay."
So yeah, so this show's been in pre-production for a long time. So we can't call it Game Theory podcast because it's already taken, and I want it to be much more than Game Theory. So we want a name that's unique, but at the same time easily communicates what we're about. So that's where we're at.
I got one for you.
Well, we'll talk about it off air, because now we're gonna spitball left and right. But what's interesting is that this will cover a lot of like the concentrations and expertise that we have in our community. I won't have the issue where I have to rely on a co-host, because I have tons of guests lined up, so that help out. So I don't have to worry about the flake factor. There'll be the business aspects, and also like the creative aspect of the game design. I'm super passionate about these topics. I know most of us are. It's a great opportunity to have guests and have them talk about themselves, which everybody loves to do. But we're giving them a place for that. And another thing
people
too,
don't like talk about themselves. What's wrong?
Well, the other thing too is that the painful truth, and this is why we evolved TWTT, but there's already tons of Doctor Who podcasts out there, and everybody, and you guys know who you are. Everybody was like, man, if you do a Doctor Who podcast, I am so there. None of those people are around. And I get it. Life changes. People get married. They start new projects, new ventures. Maybe they lose interest in podcasts, or they burn themselves out because they're doing 3 to 5 podcasts at the same time. Despite
I
the
can
nice to
only
get
Thursday one, buddy.
Yeah, so that's where we're at with that.
Yeah, when he told me he picked up another shift, I was like, so time and YME tea time's not happening, or NSFW is not happening? He goes, oh yeah, I forgot. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, and the thing about it too, like I always say this, and not to be mean toward anyone, but like if there was like a direct path to value, like, hey, show up on the show, you'll get paid $500. People will be on there like white on rice. That's a tragic thing. Like, unless there's like super clear value, it won't click with people. But there is value, and we keep saying that. Like, it's a resume builder, it's a skill builder. It gives you credibility. It expands your audience. You know, you're helping us out and yourself out. So you can be selfish and still be selfless at the same time. You know, there's intrinsic and extrinsic value. It's those mutually beneficial, you know, scenarios. The win-win-win scenario that, you know, that elusive win-win-win, where everybody, you know, benefits. But, you know, that urgency, unfortunately, is gonna come to people when it's too late. Like, there's already people that want to, that are, you know, I get tons of freaking messages every day. Oh, I want to join the stream team. I want to do this, but you know what? I don't even bother replying to them if I don't see them leaving comments, interacting with us, because that if you're not taking those extra steps, you know, it's the one and done mentality. I'm just, you know, I don't have time for that anymore. I'm invested in a lot of people that are, quite frankly, are worth my time. So I'm focusing on the people that are paying, whether they're paying with their support or they're paying money, because, you know, my time is important too. So, you know, the urgency, when people that have the urgency, then, you know, great. But the people that are one and done is like, I'm gonna send this message out. If I don't get a response, then I'll move on. No, that's how you build a relationship. You know, and logically, one person, me, coordinating all this stuff, can't reach out to hundreds of people each week, which that's how many people are, you know, messaging us through our websites, through our Twitter and all that stuff. That's not realistic. So if I see the same few people, the same faces throughout our different, you know, social media outposts and home bases, you know, then I'm like, all right, this person is legit. Now let's see what they're about and see if they're really serious. And we build and we get a conversation going, and that's how partnerships are created. So, just a little PSA there. If you've applied for the stream team and all you did was send out like one message via a contact form somewhere, or, you know, a tweet, you're doing it wrong. And nothing against you, you're probably great. But if that's the kind of effort that I can expect from you, then you're not gonna add value to our team, and we have enough people that are placeholders as it is. I'm sorry to say it. And, you know, I've gotten to that point where it's like I'm looking at all the stuff, all the progress we're making, all the momentum, the things that are on the horizon, and the people that are really putting in the effort now, they're gonna be the ones that when we get bigger projects on the board, they're the ones that are getting referrals from us. I referred a bunch of graphic design work to people. I referred you know, writing gigs that I couldn't do at the time, website development stuff. They're getting it. They know who they are because they're putting their faith in us, and we're reciprocating. But that's how it has to be. And, you know, once like the big things come, that core team, those are gonna be the ones that be like, oh man, I'm glad I put in all this effort because now I get to be a part of this thing. And then that's when everybody's gonna be like, can I be a part of that? Nope. Like, I sent an email out to 20, 30 people about our fundraising, charity fundraising efforts, months in advance. It's on November 5th. Today's September 3rd. I got maybe 3 responses out of it. That's pathetic. You know, and again, I'm not hating on anyone, but it's just that's the world we live in. Everybody's just so focused on looking on their own 2 feet, staring at their own 2 feet. They can't see what's in front of them. So hopefully that creates some urgency in folks. You know, we all have that opportunity to be more giving. You know, one of my favorite marketers, one of the most awesome women I know, Jeannie Dietrich. She runs Armand Dietrich. She also is the author of Spin Sucks. I'm gonna name drop her because she's a good friend. This person is like top tier marketing expert, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know that she's freaking living large, you know, has a gorgeous condo in Chicago and her own marketing firm, and is a speaker in TED Talks and all these things. You wouldn't know it. Because you know what she does? She responds to people. She has conversations with them. So someone that's like an A-list celeb type of person can make that time to do the little tiny little things that take you seconds or minutes of your time. No one, you ain't that busy. You are not that busy. That's the thing I get off on the soapbox about. Because I'm making the effort, and I'm slammed, but I'm making that effort because I know that it creates value long term for everybody.
Dude, and you know as well as I do, and I've said this before, it all comes down to your time management.
Oh yeah.
Not one person online, okay, minus Homegirl, minus a couple, some of the celebs that are always on Twitter and stuff like that. Time management is a key to everything if you want to succeed. You have to be able to manage your time. If you can't manage your time, then you're gonna be like, oh, I'm out of time. I don't have time to talk to you right now. Well, you did 15 minutes ago when you were just sitting there smoking a cigarette. You could have got on your phone and tweeted a couple times or had talked to somebody for a few minutes.
Yeah, and
that's my cigarette time. I don't have time to do all that. Well,
yeah,
you don't have time to succeed.
And I understand, like, everybody needs that quiet space where they're just doing me, so to speak. But it's not just time management. Like, time management is a big part of it. That's a huge part. And it's an opportunity for all of us to improve on that. That's an ongoing effort. But the thing is, some people are really good at time management, but they don't see the value in things. Because if it doesn't have an immediate value, like an immediate result, most things that are worth pursuing, you won't see them generate immediate results. The things that create immediate results usually are busy work and spam. You're pursuing vanity metrics because it makes you feel good. Like, oh, I got an extra follower. Oh, I got a retweet. And those are nice things, but at the end of the day, what's the value that's actually creating for you?
Right. There's a time and a place to do spam, to do all those immediate value triggers. But you, like you said, yeah, I don't know. We can knock out this. We could talk about this and shove this down people's throats all day long. Honestly.
Well, we got some more stuff to talk about, so we'll move on from that. But that's what's going on with the network. That's what's going on with our podcasting. And podcasting, I absolutely believe is still going to be, next 5-10 years, it's going to be a major focus for us. It creates really great value. It's productive. It's not just busy work. We're just scaling back on some of the other aspects, and focusing more on the quality than the quantity. So, don't take any of this ranting as we're going to stop doing what we're doing. Podcasting will definitely be a huge part of it. So, anyway, let's look at our intergalactic star map. These are our adventures today and ponderings, an hour in after we got in the soapbox. So before we go deeper, do a little community love and some previews, so to speak. Maybe just community love. I think we did a good job with the kind of sneak peeks of what's coming up. We'll have Who Knew tentatively. We'll talk about some news things going on in technology, gaming, etc. And then in Creative Corner, we'll have part 4 of our series, The Next Small Thing. And we're going to talk more about what we're working on in Geeky Antics, and we'll have a call to action, the elusive CTA. What's a CTA? And it's something that you share with people to give them a simple way to take action and contribute. So, all right, so before we go deeper, we keep the show family friendly. We try to keep it as clean as possible. So, just know that, but also know that our other shows on the Geeky Antics Network, whether they're syndicated or exclusive, may not be safe for kids, may not be safe for work. More than likely NSFW all the way. This is probably the only show we'll ever keep clean. That's really hard to do.
Yes, so if you guys are wondering why is Obi not talking like he usually does, it's because of this show. I've been capped, ladies and gentlemen. I've been capped. You better talk right, Obi.
Well, and we talked about it before, like, especially with our fellow Christians, there's this weird notion that, if you use certain language or you discuss mature themes, you're not a Christian or blah, blah, blah. That's BS, because the intent of your message really makes a big difference. And when you speak from the heart, sometimes, it just happens naturally. Now, if you're just someone that just drops F-bombs and all this stuff just for the sake of being controversial, that's an extreme. It's not creating value. But if you're passionate and you're moved by the Spirit or whatever you believe in, there's nothing wrong with that. So that's how we roll. We're kind of the rebel marketers. We're the rebel content creators, We're still doing fundraising. Patreon is in the works, and I might be speeding up the timetable on that, depending on how certain projects go this month. Again, there's a lot of things in the pipeline, but I'm gonna try to get at least a basic Patreon up so people can start looking at what we're doing, and that's gonna be over at patreon.com/geekyantics. Of course, you could leave us a tip, donation. It's not required, but it's definitely appreciated. bit.ly/gangtip. That's all lowercase, because it's case sensitive. Again, release project did not get funded, but if you want to see what that's about, an indie game that's truly a passion project is something that's born from love, and this is a developer making a game that he truly wants to play, and he's always wanted to play but never found. Check it out, bit.ly/release. Actually, we got our own magical link, which should put it in the show notes. This is public, and you'll be able to see it. geekyantics.net/release. That's just give us credit for sending the referral his way.
He said public. It sounds like he's Dalek. Sorry, couldn't help it.
Wow. Okay, Dalek. I'm a Dalek now. So
you are not. You are flawed.
Exterminate. Again, we need podcast hosts. For our stream team, if you're really interested in being part of our stream team, we want people that are not just obsessed with Twitch or YouTube, whatever you want to do. We want people that are gonna, get involved with podcasting, writing articles, our marketing campaigns. Highly engaged individuals that are gonna be participating in our community, because that's gonna come back to you. If you're forward facing, people are gonna notice you. They're gonna want to support you. That's another thing that Jeannie said. And I go back to her because she's just amazing. You really got to read the book. Spin Sucks, but she cracks. She's funny as hell. I can tell you a lot of things about her, but the one thing that I really love is that she has a simple concept, and I'm just kind of reminiscing in my head of all the stuff that's happened recently in the past. But this simple concept she always goes back to: build a brand, create an ecosystem that makes people want to be involved, that makes people want to help you. So maybe we're not doing a good job with that. Like, I think about it, like maybe we're not exciting enough. Maybe we haven't found our groove to really communicate what we're about and why we're so passionate about it. And there's definitely opportunity. There's definitely a lot of opportunities there. But it's just a simple truth when you think about things like that. It's like, well, am I doing things? Am I being the change that I want to see in the world? Am I leading by example? And if you're not, that's something you got to work on. Because if you're doing it right, eventually you won't have to ask anymore. People will ask you, "Can I be part of this? Can I help you out with this? Do you need help with anything?" And that's when the beautiful things are happening. So, stream team, that's what's going on with that. And again, I'm not trying to be a jerk and ignore anybody, but it's the response has been overwhelming, and it's great. But we really want those special people that are gonna get involved with things like Extra Life, streaming to our channel, not just your own. There's a purpose to that. It's not gonna take away from what you're doing. Believe me, I've done the math. It's simple, collective economics. There's other people doing it, and it's the best way to do it. It's more sustainable. It's less of a grind. Last thing, we need testimonials. If you love what we're doing, send those testimonials. Send them a mail at geekyantics.net. We're gonna use those to put on our website, maybe include it in our new media kit, and also do it using things like our app to get partnered in different things like Twitch, for example. Which, by the way, I'm excited to say we are partnered on YouTube. I don't know if people noticed that, but we are partnered on there, so that's pretty freaking awesome. That gets me very happy. Of course, YouTube is not huge for us, but it's still an important factor. Speaking of YouTube, Tedekin, creator of Combat Kids, he's working on the new follow-up to Combat Kids on YouTube. So he's up to 4,100,000 views and going. It's crazy. So really happy for him. See, you never know when you're gonna hit. He's gotta, keep interacting with people. He's a very social guy, very humble. he's super talented, and he just kept doing stuff. He did things because he believed in it, because he had fun with it. He kept being involved in communities, and now he's getting that payoff because he didn't give up, and he didn't give up on himself or other people. That's huge. Voicemail line. He goes to text us here, 646-801-2149. Again, 646-801-2149. That's a U.S. number, BT dubs, so keep in mind that might be some long-distance charges depending where you are. Of course, the Facebook page, facebook.com/geekyantics. You can email us, the network, or any of our shows, mail at geekyantics.net, or this show, twtt@geekyantics.net. That's all the plugs for now. Let's see how we're doing on time. We got a good hour left. I guess we go through the news, and then we're going to go to our creative corner. That's probably all we'll have time for, though. I think we should mention Titanfall 1, Titanfall 2. We enjoyed that beta. I guess we'll talk a little bit about that. So I noticed with that, people that loved the first apparently don't like the second, and people that hated the first love the second. So it's interesting. Did you notice that, Obi?
Yeah, I was one of those people.
Yeah, the latter group. You didn't like the first one.
I did not enjoy the first one. The second one is just, I don't know what they did, whether they maybe just simplified it a little bit or just did some edging on what was happening, but it was just, to me, the second one was great. I loved it.
There's definitely a lot more polish in Titanfall 2. And it feels like more significant to be in the mechs. Like, the people can't take you out as easily now when you're in the mechs. That's cool. Those battles are pretty epic.
Oh, I can take somebody out really quick in the mech. All you got to do is get on top of them and just blow their head off.
It's not as easy as it was in the first one. They had to like have sustained damage for you to be able to do that. Like, now you can cherry pick them for parts, but it's not like the first one. If you could jump on the Titan, they were pretty much done. So like it was like, wow, I have these great mechs, but it's kind of pointless. Like, people prefer to stay in their pilot form. So I guess we'll try to go through the news quick, so then we can have time for, like, we're gonna go deep on some more stuff in the creative corner. So who knew? So first up in the headlines, something I meant to talk about on Let's Play Live, but PlayStation Network, they got the price hikes, $10 price hike, all right? So it's $10 more a year to play online on PlayStation, and the Sony fans are furious, and people saying they're overreacting. Now, part of me says no, they're not overreacting. Actually, most of me says that. Because here's the thing. Sony was really smart, really sneaky. For a long time, the PlayStation fanboys, I love you guys. I'm an Xbox and PC guy, but that's all right. I have love for everybody. Everybody has their preferences. But one of the biggest things Sony fanboys though was saying, oh, well, it's free for us to play online. The PC gamers do it too. They say, oh, we don't have to pay to play online. Well, yeah, because there's a reason for that. Very obvious, but whatever. So now, at some point they made us have to pay for it, and it was still cheaper than Xbox Live, right? And then people say, well, Nintendo doesn't charge for online. Well, their online is terrible, and they don't really have an online infrastructure. Like,
wait, Nintendo is online?
Yeah, like, playing online and Nintendo do not go hand in hand. They still haven't really figured it out. So really, it's Sony versus Microsoft, and now they've caught up with the rest of the market, basically Microsoft, and they're offering their thing for this about the same price as Xbox Live. So I don't think they're wrong for doing it, because in order for them to keep up with Xbox Live and be able to invest in it and get their online infrastructure more, up to par, they're still nowhere near where Xbox Live is at. I feel I'm maybe a little biased, but I have reason to believe that. That takes money. So if you take $10 a year times however million subscribers they have, that adds up. That's money they can reinvest, and maybe they'll pass the savings on to the gamers. Who knows? I don't really have too much faith in Sony, so I won't speak to that. But the debate and switch of it is the funniest part, because if you look at Sony, 10 years ago to today, it's funny. Like now, all their like loyalists have forgotten that it used to be free, and now they're paying for it, and now they're offended that they're raising the price. Well, you know what? You let them get away with that murder by blindly supporting them and constantly, taking pot shots at Microsoft for the supposed evil things they do. like Sony cares about the consumer. At the end of the day, they're a business. They're a mega corporation. That's just the way it is. They're gonna always prioritize making money off of over making people happy. To an extent, of course. You don't want to make people furious either, but it has to be profitable. And that's just the way it is. If you think Sony actually cares about what you think, then I don't know. You're delusional. But Microsoft was the bad guy, 3 or 4 years ago when they talked about Xbox One and they said all these things. Like, well, Sony's not innocent. So now I think people are finally waking up to that reality. I find it satisfying. I'm sorry. By the way, folks, you should definitely snag WWE 2K16 on Xbox Live Games with Gold.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can play together. He's got about 12 days to do that.
And for a reminder, I did say it on Thursday, but for a reminder, if you guys do get that, I know myself, Fatal Blades and myself, we are going to be doing some like in the future, be doing some like Royal Rumbles and some multiplayer matches. So if you guys do get that, you guys can possibly be in one of our in the background of one of our podcasts. So get it, guys. It's free. I mean, this isn't like free stuff. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, and I keep telling people, like, don't think because you don't have an Xbox One you shouldn't be getting those games. You can still go add them to your account, and when you do get an Xbox One, which now it's dirt cheap to get one, there's deals for you can get an Xbox for under $250. It's a no-brainer if you ask me. At that price, you can't even build a gaming PC that's even close to that. I mean, and there's the convenience of the out-of-box gaming experience, and having different people to play games with. It's a great value, man. And then there's the entertainment aspect of it beyond the gaming. Being able to use it as a DVR and all that stuff. It's great. So definitely jump on that. Free. It's the best price. Sierra Humble Bundle, humblebundle.com, and of course the Humble Bundle Humble Monthly. These are great values in gaming. Make sure you check them out, and they also support charity as a result. So peep it, yo. And by the way, I should put in the show notes that we're doing Extra Life on November 5th. Who's in? There. Make sure we keep reinforcing that so people that read our show notes, which are public, and that will be included in our video description, our podcast description, our episode description, all that stuff. You can join us. All right. What else? The last thing I wanted to mention, and I really don't want to get into the rant, but there's a website dedicated to the lies driving No Man's Sky. It's called One Man's Lie. Now, everybody's saying Sean Murray's fault, but Sony's not innocent either. Okay, they did, even though it's Hello Games thing, they did back it. They did build up the hype train to a degree, and there's a lot of misrepresentation in this whole game. Now I want to be clear. No Man's Sky is not a bad game. In fact, it's a good game. It's just not I don't think it's a full price game. And I don't think it's worth 60 and change or 90 and change what it is in Canada.
No Man's Sky is probably worth at most about $30.
Yeah,
I think saying because it's a bad game or anything like Yogi said, but it's not a full game. Not $60 worth anyway.
So yeah, and I'm looking at this website, and there's some funny stuff. But people saying this is really cruel, right? But here's the thing: we're not getting. But how come we can never stream playing the game? What you mean, Tiger Claw? We stream gameplay all the time, but not as often we used to. You know, I think this
He
is
might be
important.
talking about me too, because I've kind of not streamed in a month.
Oh. Yeah, we're working on that. I guess that's part of the efforts that we're doing. We're kind of taking some steps back so we can speed up and be more consistent with stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on, but I look at this website and I don't think this is a bad thing because we have to hold people accountable when there's a brand promise, especially when there's money on the line. We're not getting this game for free or cheap. You're dropping lots of money on this. So, if you're being promised X and you're given oranges, that's a whole very different thing. Like, what? What the heck is this? Like, you talked about I bought a bicycle and you gave me a peanut. Like this, that peanut might be great, but it's still a peanut. I didn't get my money's worth. Like, it's the bait and switch thing, and I know I'm using some really wonky metaphor than silly, but that's the whole thing. It is silly because I think if they were just honest about what the core experience is and stay consistent with that, but instead they showed all these amazing things and allowed us to make these conclusions in our head, which is just as bad as lying. All this, they said trading is such a huge part of the game, and the whole thing about being able to see and play with other players, which what? Hearing radio chatter from other players and all this stuff, like that is not in the final product. It may be there in the future, but it's really a bust, and it goes back to what I said. Like with marketing, you really got to be careful what you put out there because people will hold you accountable for that, and it's just the scary part of it. So, he said if it's your own game, you never broadcast yourself playing it. No, I don't own No Man's Sky. I knew it was gonna be a bust. I seen friends playing it, and I just can't justify a full purchase. There's just too many better games out there. If I had the money to buy other games, which I don't right now, because I'm kind of holding back. I'm trying to there's bills to pay and things to invest in, and my gaming play is more than full. I just can't justify supporting this game that I feel is an incomplete game, and that was sold based on a lie. And it's funny too because Sony did a tweet saying something like people that ask for refunds after putting in 40, 50 hours are thieves, or they're cheaters or whatever. Well, you know what? That's the sad part. A lot of people that did get the game, they're trying to play it to see if they'll like it, right? And they feel like there's something wrong with them. It's like battered wife syndrome or something, like that maybe something's wrong with me. Maybe I can make this work. That's not. I know that sounds really insensitive to say, but that's really the same kind of symptom.
That's how it is. I mean, the companies that are putting out games right now that are either half done or basically just they boosted it up so much and got the hype so high, even though that the game is nothing like any of the trailers. Like, yeah. I'm sorry to say it like this, but you guys remember I was hype as crap about No Man's Sky. I'm like, oh, heck yeah, I'm getting that. Dude, that looks awesome. And again, I saw my buddy playing it because he gets everything. He's one of those people that has so much money that he doesn't know what to do with, so he just buys stupid stuff. But he buys it, he plays it, and he goes, dude, do not get No Man's Sky. I'm like, why? I was like, I played for like 20 hours, tried to get my money back because it's just crap. And they said that I played too long.
Yeah. Yep.
And he goes, within the first 5 hours of it, because that's, I guess, the time limit, I guess. You get 5 hours to decide whether you're, you want to play it or not. I don't know what Steam actually really does. But
Steam is usually, if you play 2 hours or less, it's an automatic refund if you ask for one. Otherwise, you have to put in a ticket and kind of have a conversation and justify it. Then they use discretionary power to determine if you get the refund or not. But apparently, there's been more refunds on the console side on PS4 than they were on Steam, which I find interesting. That I was surprised by. But I don't know. And Tiger Claw saying in the chat that the old saying, "You get what you pay for." Sometimes it doesn't apply to video games. Yeah, sadly, he says sometimes the price of a game determines the quality, but it can be misleading. And I have no doubt that for a company this small, the price is justified in the fact that there's a lot of production value there. But at the end of the day, this is a glorified tech demo, and that's why we keep saying we've been keeping this theme going of, the next small thing. Keeping things small and simple, it'll help you, because then you could price accordingly. Because I could come out with a game and say this is $100 game, sure, no one's gonna buy it really. That the value you see, no one's gonna have an idea and say, oh, this idea stinks. Everybody thinks their ideas are great. And Sean Murray, I have no doubt that he really believed in the product and he was super hyped about it. But he never had people come in objectively and on the project and look at it from the outside. I mean, even the headlines from the media were like, this game is gonna revolutionize the gaming industry. Oh, it's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. There's nothing like it. None of those things are true. This is not something brand new or revolutionary or innovative. And again, marketing. They had to control that message a little better, rather than letting people go to these really crazy places they did in their head, or be so extreme with their fandom and their coverage of the game. Because they showed off little bits and pieces of the game, to the media, and they hyped it up further, and there's no way they could have lived up to the hype. So I understand that part, but they could have done a better job of being more honest about what it was. This is what this game is, and this is what it isn't. They could have just said, this is a solitary experience based on exploration.
But let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question on that, though. Okay, if you're in a business and you own a business and your business is to make video games, no matter how bad they are, okay, and you're charged with hyping this game up, or you lose your job, one or the other, you're going to hype this game up.
See, that's the incorrect belief, though, because you can build hype and still be authentic about it, right?
Yeah, but hear me out. But if you're supposed to do this and build hype and do all this other stuff that you're supposed to do, right? And say your boss says, okay, you either build this hype up, or because we even if the boss knows, oh crap, we done made a crappy game, what do we do? You're just kind of like, well, I don't believe in this game. Well, it doesn't matter if you believe in this game. You either do it or you lose your job. You're gonna hype it up just like everybody else.
I see. That's the problem. So there's a few problems there. As a small business, as small businesses, or even medium-sized businesses, we don't have the money to make those kind of costly mistakes. So you have the best time to get marketing involved is before you even have a finished product. This is a common mistake. People think, oh, I'll wait till I have the finished product and then we market it. No, because you need to let at least one person with those marketing eyeglasses on look at it and say, this is marketable or this is not marketable. Or they'll help direct you. They'll say, all right, so what do you think is the real unique selling proposition here? What's the USP here? What's your value proposition? What's the thing that's going to give people the aha moment? And then they'll look at it and say, that's not it. That's not what's there. So either you change the game so it matches that, or we have to change the messaging. Because again, you have to bridge that gap and make sure there's no disconnect there. You have to have everything aligned. The product and the message need to be aligned.
I'm not saying they're right at all. They were terrible for what they did. Marketed it away. Only gave so many, like I told you before, dude. Like it looked awesome. From what it actually looked like in the trailers and everything else, it looked awesome. Like I was one of the first people to go, dude, I am so getting that. I mean, you can do this and this and this, and let's see if they actually have multiplayer and all this and this and this. And they did. Everything come out. played at my friend's house, and it was like a 180. Like, hey, you get No Man's Sky? No. Why? I've already seen gameplay. No.
Well, you know what? The moment it was leaked and Sean Murray was begging people not to watch the leaked gameplay, that told me he didn't have confidence in the product. And again, so if they really got to a point in the development where they no longer really believed in the product, they should have made the necessary changes or adjust their message. Because, yeah, all right, obviously, if you're already deep into development, you can't just give up and let that go to waste. So you might have to count that loss. So you really have to make that decision because it might cost you more to put out a bad product. But for small companies, you got to launch as you know, probably as is and make the best of it. They didn't do that, though. They, you know, and again, I don't know if it was failed confidence or they knew there was issues with it and they just, you know, try to hope that people would just buy into it day one before bad press went out. I don't know. We can only speculate there.
Well, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Like, it was to the point where the company they were hiding what was going on, and that's not what you do as a gaming company. You can't do that.
Yeah, they never.
Especially if you got, sorry, dude, but if you got 1 million people looking at your game and 10% of those go, oh my God, don't get this, it's crap.
And that's the thing.
Okay. Why is it crap? So I can change this before it comes out. They
Right.
didn't do that because they were trying to hide stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
I'm trying so hard not to swear right now.
I feel like they were hiding stuff because why didn't they open this up to a small group of testers and have them talk about it, like be more open about it? Because, you know, you're talking about, what was it, 3 years they've been promoting this? It's almost as long as The Last Guardian or whatever. And here's the thing. Every time they had an interview or some kind of reveal, we never got a real sense of what it was. It was always like wishy-washy, up in the clouds kind of rhetoric. I never got a feel for like what the core experience was. Well, is this more action adventure? Is this a sandbox thing? You know, what's really the purpose? What's the objective? Is this whatever you want it to be? Like, is this really artsy fartsy thing? It just seems so aloof. Tiger Claw saying in the chat, you know, like, a big problem with it is that the game, everything is procedurally generated. You know, it's only a 3 gigabyte game, so that puts things into perspective. Then, you know, it's they're recycling the same in-game assets and creating random things. But after a while, that random only goes so far, and everything starts to look the same. See, that's the thing, though. I can't say that's the problem because, you know, there's tons of games that do procedurally generated and dynamic environments and dynamic scenarios and all that stuff. It's, you know, all the RNG, and they do it well. A game that I really love, Dungeon of the Endless, and that game is priced to go. Whether it's $15, $10, or $5, it's worth it. I would pay $20 for that. I might even pay $30 for that game if they threw in some more content because it's a great game. And it's fun every time. Every time it's fun. Whether you play by yourself or with friends, it's always fun. So you could do the procedurally generated, but it needs to be done right. And I think the procedurally generated thing gets attacked not because there's something wrong with that take, because that should mean high replay value. It's because the core mechanics surrounding that aren't compelling enough. 'Cause at the end of the day, you know, it's meter management. Oh, I gotta watch my survival meter. Oh, my hunger meter is saying I have to eat soon. I'm gonna die. You know, all these it's meter management. And that's the problem with uninspired game design. We see this a lot with MMOs where it's just a kind of grind, and then after you get sick of it, you finally pull back the curtain and say there's nothing really here. Tiger Claw says XCOM does the procedurally generated maps, but they later started looking the same when you've seen them all. XCOM does do procedurally generated, but guess what? That game has compelling gameplay. So that's another game that if I had the free time, I'd be playing XCOM all the time. I love that game. So there's so many good examples of procedurally generated. Rogue Legacy, fantastic game. And I don't even like single player games like that, and I'll play the crap out of that. So this is a shame, and I think there's something we could all learn from that experience. But let's jump into the creative corner, because we could probably talk a lot about that. I know poor guys at Hello Games have been beat up enough as it is, and everybody's kind of probably sick of it by now. But it's not
you wouldn't get beat up if you wouldn't. You'd actually put out a good game and not charge what seems to be a full price for a game, you wouldn't get beat up so much.
Yeah,
It's their fault.
And I'm not trying to bully anyone. I think it's important lessons for all our friends out there that have indie game studios. Learn from that mistake. That's a good case study of what not to do when launching a game. I think the project, I said it from the beginning, it was too auspicious, too ambitious to begin with. There was no way they were going to be able to deliver on that because the scope was too huge. Like, the moment they zoomed down and said, "Look how massive the universe is," I'm like, yeah, it's going to be this massive universe that's really providing a shallow experience. Oh well. So, Creative Corner. What you usually find here is our TWTT word of the day, writing and creative prompts, design concepts and ideas, inspirational quotes, introspective thoughts, creative tips, etc., etc. This is kind of our little workshop area for all our fellow creative geeks out there. So today's TWTT word of the day is brought to you, as always, by the swell people over at dictionary.com, who's not a sponsor or affiliate or anything, but we like their stuff. It's good to increase your vocabulary. It's also brought to you by the letter G, the California grapes, not the California raisins. And ravines all around the world. And the TWTT word of the day is, drumroll, gaposis, which is a facetious word. It's a noun that means a noticeable gap or series of gaps, as between the fastened buttons or snaps on an overly tight garment. And I love this because this was actually today's word of the day. And
so would you say that Michael Strahan has a severe case of gaposis?
Yep, that's accurate. There's a severe gaposis between the brand promise that No Man's Sky put out there and what the actual experience is. That's extreme gaposis.
If Michael Strahan ever listens to this podcast, I'm gonna get in trouble.
He's a good guy. My brother was on his show. It was funny because he's.
Well, I've met him. I've met him in real life. He's one of the most humble football players I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's definitely a good guy. Like,
I mean, it's all about he didn't do nothing. God did it all for him. So, like, it was very, very humbling experience meeting him.
And see that gap between his teeth? That's part of his brand. He should never fix it. That's part of who he is.
Oh no, he's not gonna fix it. That's not gonna be. It's just like Homeboy's eyebrow. That's him. That's who he is.
Yep. So yeah. See, some people can make it big and stay humble, and those are the people we love.
Mm-hmm.
So this word used in a quote. For years, metal zipper industries have been spending thousands of dollars educating the public in the horror and neurosis attendant on gaposis, bulging lags between fastenings. That's from manufacturers design zipperless fashions in Life magazine, December 15, 1941. Man, they got deep into the nitty-gritty of that there.
Mm-hmm.
Today's creative prompts, they're very obviously reference to the very interesting community that we encountered in full force recently. We've encountered them in the past, but recently, oof. If you head over there, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's pretty obvious. The creative prompts these are words you can use in a story, any kind of content you create, kind of put together a theme or some kind of nice narrative. Cynicism, jaded, elitist, Reddit, caustic, toxic, glib. These all have something in common. Have fun with that. Our use is, just using some of those words. There's a lot of cynicism on Reddit. People, a lot of jaded elitists that are not welcoming to new people, especially when they have something they're passionate about. They assume that there's some hidden agenda and then it's not authentic. This includes our fellow Christians, sadly. They can be very toxic, and their responses are typically caustic glibness. There you go. I used all the words. There you go. And hopefully you're looking up some of these words and expanding your vocabulary.
Me? No, I'm playing WoW.
I mean the audience.
Yeah, guys,
You
look it up,
you
guys.
inclusive. He's playing WoW. Yeah, new expansion came out. Everybody's raving about that.
I got a lot of work to do, dude. I really got a level.
Oh boy! So today we're gonna do something different for our creative conundrum. We're gonna keep talking about this concept of the next small thing, but we're gonna bring it into a more intimate perspective. Because we've been thinking about small things, and here are some of the things we're looking at. And we'd like to know what you, as the audience, find lots of value in. These are things that are in development, we're prototyping, we're working out, we're really excited about. So first, we have a tool that's going to be a browser... Oh, all games servers back up. Cool. Well, it's a little late for that because we're about to wrap up soon. But, but now we know. Oh, I got a message. Who sent me a message? Ah. So. But by the way, you guys should join our Discord. That's going to be replacing our TeamSpeak. Details on that will be in the show notes too. I think I put it in the show notes. If not, I should probably copy that. Yeah, let me put it in the thingamabobbers. New chat server. Discord. There. Wait, that didn't work. What in the Fushnikin? There we go. That was weird. Alright. So, so the tool we're working on is going to be a browser toolbar. And the whole reason we decided to make this, because we saw that a lot of people are doing crowdfunding because they don't have the money to bootstrap something, or they need the supplemental income. There's a lot of big brands on crowdfunding and crowdsourcing platforms that really shouldn't be there. But for the people that truly need that money, the chances are they can't afford to pay a consultant or have people on retainer or on staff, which is why they're there. So we want to make a toolbar that will allow people to easily promote their crowdsourcing efforts, Patreon, Indiegogo, Kickstarter, whatever, and also have a more deliberate approach to it. Whereas you have a firm content strategy, which is something a marketing professional will help you put together, but if you can't afford one, then this will help you kind of get a basic idea of what your value proposition is, your selling points, and kind of build up a content bank so you could easily promote your efforts across networks, but also keeping those messages, while consistent and parallel to each other, unique, so you're not just looking like you're spamming. So that allows you to, schedule stuff and drip your message throughout the day, because you also have to assume that that your message is going to get buried in the feeds and the timeline. So, it'll help you find tags, it'll help you find keywords and people to mention. And what's exciting about it is we already have some connections in different companies that will allow us to integrate third-party tools that do some of these things, but not what we're trying to do. So we can integrate a buffer app or a right tag, so you can get those market and the market research done and target the right segments and all that stuff, and also schedule things out in a very neat way. So that's one of the things we're working on, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's something that's simple to execute on, and I think it's going to be valuable not just to marketers but also consumers, because as a consumer, you'll be able to use that to discover exciting content that's relevant to you, because people will have to, tag it, and basically, kind of give you some kind of context, and as a consumer, you can sift through all the BS and get to the stuff you really want. So super excited about that, and getting Google Plus, Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, stumble upon all that stuff built in through the API. I think it's gonna be really useful, and again, the nice thing about it is it'll be a toolbar, so we're not asking you to use our website, which already does a lot of this stuff, or use anybody's website. You could do whatever you normally do online, but you have a toolbar that follows you wherever you go. So you can, if you see something you like, you can easily engage with it and add it to the network and promote it, etc. So this will be focused on crowdfunding primarily, but we can see it being really useful for other things too. It's making it easier for people to support things and share content and actually promote, not just spam. There's a difference. What do you think about that, OB? All right, good talk. We're also, like I keep saying, we're working on the Geeky Antics mobile app. I think a lot of things we're working on. This is kind of something.
What was that?
Oh, it's all right. We're moving on now. So the mobile app.
I'm sorry, I had to step out for a second.
So our mobile app is gonna have our aggregate podcast stream. And the thing I think is gonna be most important here is iTunes is terrible. I'm sorry if you're an Apple person, I love you, but you have to even admit that iTunes is terrible because you have to use the iTunes app in order for you to leave reviews, and the reviews are segregated by region. That's silly. So we want to make it so with our app, you'll be able to comment across platforms and maybe ideally leave reviews across platforms from one single app in a way that's easy and doesn't separate you from being in a different marketplace. And we'll have our aggregate podcast stream there, pulling from all the different sources, so it's all in one neat place where you can filter and search easily. Have our YouTube team, like whether it's on Geeky Antics or Tedekin's channel or B Team's channel, whoever's channel is on, all games, have that all aggregated into one stream, and have our Twitch roulette, where you could go find the Twitch streamers randomly or based upon the kind of content and kind of experience you want. So if you don't like Twitch streamers that don't engage with the chat, guess what? They're filtered out, and that eliminates about 99% of them. And then it leaves you with the people you actually care to. And that'll be our easy way also to have a stream team that actually works. Because, if we have only a handful of people, and we're going to start culling the herd, eventually there'll probably be just 20 to 50 tops people that will promote in this app, and you could engage with them through the app. And so I'm really excited about that app. My kind of focus right now is figuring out what the minimal viable product is, or what the key features we have to release with on day one. Because there's a lot of things I want to add to it, but it's gonna take a lot of development, and my bandwidth is spread thin. So then a matter of whether I could do it myself. It's just making that time. So another nice thing about the app is that I know people hate ads, but you know what? This is going to be ad supported. We're going to try to make it in a way that it's not going to be intrusive and spammy, but this is the thing, ads, they're a necessary evil, and I know people think they're slick running no script and ad block, but this is people's livelihood. I understand that some websites really deserve it, but, our sponsors, you click on those offers, those ads, it makes a big difference. It starts adding up after a while. That residual income helps us with some of the overhead, and it's important. Because otherwise, we'd have to rely almost exclusively on people hiring us, which is, not always a steady flow, or donating. And everybody's broke, so that's an issue too. Everybody's spending their money on silly things like Starbucks every day. The pumpkin spice latte.
Whoa! Hold the phone, Kimusabi. I don't eat Starbucks every day. I don't drink Starbucks every day, but my Big B coffee cannot be replaced.
Well, I'm just saying, people always say they're broke, but they're not really broke. I can say I'm truly broke because I'm not spending my money frivolously. And we used to be 2 to 4 cup of Starbucks a day family. And that gets expensive. If you look at that, that's $20, $30 a day times how many days you do that. Adds up over time. If you don't think about it, it's it's just $5. Oh, it's just $10. No biggie. And then that adds up. So there's a great website.
Then you look in your wallet at the end of the week and go, dang, dude, I had $100 bill in here. Where did it go?
Yep.
Oh yeah, it was from the 8 cups of coffee this week.
What's the thing? It's even less obvious because most people are doing it like, charging it. So when you charge it, you don't get that immediate feel until like you look at your bills at the end of the month, your credit card statement or your bank statement. You're like, ooh, I spent a lot of money there. Ooh, that's if you even do a budget. So,
Right.
I'm not knocking it, but a lot of us have lifestyles that are not sustainable, and there's a good website I came across called it says this is why I'm broke, and it goes through all the things people do that like they think is no big deal, but they don't realize that's what's actually like sucking all their money away. You know, like the people that are like they always complain about they don't have enough money for food to feed their kids, or they're late on the electric bill, but then they're buying $200 sneakers, every month. Like, well, yeah, that's not a necessity. Like, heck, I'll be honest, I'll straight up, I haven't bought a new shoe in like 5 years or so because that makes sure the kids have what they need first. And that the necessities are covered. So hey, all right, my soul's a little worn out, but it's not gonna kill me. You gotta make the sacrifice sometimes so you have margin. If you don't have some margin in your life, then that's something you should be scared about.
And then you find the real reason why your back went out the other week. It's because your shoes suck. And you don't have the proper support on your feet. Well, my kids they're all grown up. Screw them.
I mean, that's true. That's true. Like, shoes are really important. Just like a good mattress. Like that stuff that if you don't have those on point, it'll mess you up. But you have to like. There's always a place to shuffle things around. There's something you go without. Like a lot of life, especially parenting, is saying no to stuff today so you can say yes to something that really matters down the road. If you look at families that go on these big, family vacations, chances are that they're sacrificing a lot of things and foregoing some things so they could do that one big special thing and make it count.
Well, we did the same thing. Like we're going to Orlando in December. The whole family is going, which that's gonna suck. But the whole family's going. So like we're like saying, okay, hey, do you want to get this now? Like, no, let's wait till after we get back from Florida, because then we can say, okay, yeah, we have the money for it now, and we've already, because we want to, the amount of money that we want to take to Florida is like, holy crap, like some people don't even make that much in a month, and it's like, or a year. And it's like, do we really want to take this much? Yeah, we do. So, okay, then we have to actually not suffer, but we have to, okay, there's no more Big stops, no more Starbucks stops. Wait, I have to give up that. Well, yeah, if you want to spend this much money when we go to Florida, then you need to not spend your $20, $30 a week. And it's just a week. Because I don't do it. Like every now and then I'll go off, and after I drop my son off at school, I'll be like, Big B, here I come. And they all know me there because I used to go in there every single day. So like, man, where have you been? I'm like, I've been actually trying to save money and blah, blah, blah. And the amount of money that we've saved from not going to Big B every day, holy crap.
Yeah, eating out is like the biggest offender for most people. Because, like, sometimes you have those days where you don't feel like cooking, or you just want something quick and dirty, or you want to just treat yourself for your family. But that adds up, At least when you cook, if you're smart about it, you can portion things out so you have leftovers and it lasts longer,
Right.
With a lot of time eating out, it's one and done. Chinese is probably one of the few exceptions. Or pizza if you get some good deals, because you might have enough leftovers to last you a couple of days, and that's cool, depending on the size of your family. But still, like, you gotta live within your means.
We have a place where, like, if you ever come up here to do, for a vacation or a pod, just a whatever, I'm going to take you to a buffet that we have here, and it's like literally like $6.99 for the buffet. It's really cheap, and 9 times out of 10, I either get a water or, I'll get a Coke or something, no ice, and then that's all I'll have. But it's like $7 per person, which some people, that's a crap ton of money. But when you usually go to, okay, say McDonald's, people do it. I'm not saying that. But if you go to McDonald's and you buy a number one with not supersized, not nothing, just with a regular drink, and you get a number one with fries, that's still a Big Mac meal now is like $7.
Yeah, up north at least.
Okay, would you rather go? Yeah, up here it is. Would you rather go to McDonald's and have a Big Mac that is 99% processed, or would you rather go to a Chinese buffet where you're actually watching these guys cooking in front of you, and you're like, that's really, and then it comes out, especially when it comes right off the line, and it's nice and hot and it's moist. I said it, but it's something that you're just like, oh, this is so good. And then you get some people that are like, oh yeah, no, Chinese food is disgusting. I was like, yeah, but you eat McDonald's every day? Yeah, you really.
Yeah, some people get hung up on Chinese food because they don't like the textures. So I mean, I like I'm unapologetic. I like fast food. I'll eat McDonald's. I'll eat Burger King. But we talk about banging for your buck. The buffets are great, like Ryan's or the Chinese buffets or. What's another one? Golden Corral. There's so many people. Like, there's a lot of buffet spots down here, down south.
Shoney's. Sorry, my southern days.
Yeah, we have a lot of buffets down here. I think even what's that family chicken place? Is it called Price Choppers? Oh my God, I can't remember the name. No, Wife Savers. Wife Savers. You ever heard of that place? I think they do a buffet now. Yeah, Wife Savers is supposed to be like the whole premise is like their family eating, and it's like to save your wife the trouble of cooking dinner. It was Wife Savers, like home style cooking, and I think they do a buffet too.
That's kind of like what what's that place?
Piccadilly's?
No, it's a place that they always have a commercial for it. Be like, man, this is where you can stop for Sunday dinner and just take it home, and it's all like it's all home cooked food that is disgusting. Like, it's basically food that if your 5-year-old decided that he wanted to cook you a 3-course meal, this is what it would taste like.
Speaking of fast food and then the home style, I'm a big fan of Popeyes.
Sorta.
I mean, like, it's one of the things, still fast food, but
like I don't have any Popeyes. I don't have a Popeye. I used to eat Popeyes all the time because yes, I'm white, but I love fried chicken. And it was something. Yeah. It's something that, like, well, yeah, you eat so much fried chicken. Well, the old joke used to be, because my beard is so like curly and kinky and coarse, I would just tell everybody I'm half black. And then because you look at a guy with a beard, it looks like he's got a giant ball of pubes on his face, right? So it's just that whole thing, and then they'd see me like, Dan, you're going to Popeyes a lot, but like, it's good food. Well, it's all it is fried chicken. You can make that at home. No, because then I have to get the grease, then I have to get it hot enough, then I have to worry about not burning the house down, then I have to do this, then I do that, then I have to cook the greens, then I have to cook the cornbread. No.
Yeah, and fried chicken, like getting that batter just right. I've come close to getting it close to what classic KFC used to taste like. When they spices it, or the beer batter that whatever it is that the Popeye uses, but there's something to put in there. I don't know, the MSG or something. It's like
I learned how to make fried chicken from I call her my sister because she's just like a family member to me. But I learned how to make fried chicken from a woman my dad met from like his church, like the church conferences and stuff down south.
Is your batter flour based?
I can't tell you.
Well, no, like, you can tell me the base. Like, is it flour, cornstarch?
It's cornstarch base.
Okay.
And with a little flour mixed in later, but like I said, I can do it all. I'll tell you off air, okay? But it's something that like she taught me. Like she's from Mississippi, okay? I'm going to give you the context here. She's from Mississippi, and she's one of those people that, you know, if it was Sunday, she would make all her stuff beforehand.
Yeah.
The night before, like make her greens, the, you know, collard greens, the, you know, homemade mac and cheese, mashed potatoes and gravy, cornbread. And then when she'd get home Sunday afternoon, she'd start cooking the chicken.
Yeah.
Well, you think of a typical, like if you watch Tyler Perry stuff, right? You know, every Tyler Perry movie, they always have a Sunday dinner around the table, right? This is how she was. So she was like always, we'd always go to church, Sunday school in the morning, and then about 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock or so, we'd be let out. She would go right home. Like she would leave before everybody even, like, as soon as they said amen, she was out the door. Because she knew, like, she had like 12, 15 people coming over. She had to start cooking.
Yeah.
And it was like, why do you do this? Hey, just let us go to KFC or Popeyes or something. Like, oh, we ain't having that artificial chicken today. Like, it was just, okay, shoot, go on, girl. And just, I mean, and that's soul food. That's why I got 325 pounds, because that's what I ate.
Yeah, and it's tricky though, like getting the ratio of seasoning right in your batter, because sometimes the batter will come out bland or it'll be too salty. That's the tricky part. Because I like using cumin, I like using sazon, you know, all those Spanish things.
Well, but cumin, sazon is actually really salty too.
Right, so like,
it's
you
a
gotta
salt
be careful.
base. So you're using 2 salt products in one batter. That's not good, dude.
Well, I'm saying, like, I'm just giving an example of some of the stuff that I might use. I'm not using them necessarily together. I'm not gonna give you my recipe.
I'm just saying, like, when it comes to food, dude, we won't. I'll give you the recipe off air, okay? If I do it and she hears about it, I'm in trouble. That means I never get to eat her food again. So screw you.
So that's a little mini food corner there. But back to the stuff we're working on. So that's the mobile app.
Sorry.
And we might even have a little recipe section, because that's something we've been cooking with the gang. Has been something people really wanted to see. So maybe that'll be the start of it. We'll start sharing recipes from within, because a lot of us are doing the social eating and cooking streams on Twitch. So that'd be something. I
can tell you that there is going to be a cooking thing with me coming out here shortly. We're getting it set up now.
We could do cookcraft, something like that, where we'll like come up with recipes, and then like other people on our team will like test them out, and then we'll like say, this is good, but this part, get rid of it, substitute this, try this ratio, and we'll like perfect recipes.
You got some people that their palates suck. So like you having, like me, I say I have a pretty I don't have like a really well diversified palate, because I'm allergic to like onions, and with onions and tomato, a lot of the tomato paste stuff that actually has the seeds in it, I can't eat that stuff. I mean, I don't want to die. So it's something to where it's you know, cooking with onions changes the whole flavor of everything. Yeah. So it's something to where I will cook with onions, but it'll be for Blades or it'll be for my wife, because they both eat onions. So it's like, you know, and they're sit there, they'll taste mine that has no onions in it, and then they'll taste theirs that has onions in it and be like, dude, I wish you could have onions. This is so much better. I'm like, is it really good? Because I don't know. I will cook my butt off for anybody, but it's just like half the time, like, how is it? Is it really good? And then there, you know, Fatal, he's not picky about food, but when something's really, really good, he will tell you, dude, this is good. Yeah. We're talking about food again.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. So that's that'll be coming. Maybe we'll make an app where we'll call it Cookcraft or something, and we could just like share recipes and then like critique them and do taste tests and post video. That'll be the whole experience, just like being complete foodies, like sharing the you know, the food, you know what.
Right. Well, once we get into our new house and everything, everybody knows we're moving and everything. Once we get into the new house, I actually have plans drawn up. I have, you know, Fifi's down with it. She's actually going to be the one doing most of the cooking. but it's going to be down to where we're actually going to be doing we're going to call it a cook cast, where we're casting, we're basically doing, it's a video podcast basically about cooking while we're cooking. It's something that I think you guys will really like and enjoy. So if you guys, anybody listening right now, if you have a recipe that you want us to make on stream, send it in to geekyantics.net right now.
We'll have to start a official forum for that. Just share food pictures and recipes and stuff.
I was going to talk about you all this tomorrow or on Tuesday when I got back from my weekend. There's
been a demand for that for like years because we always end up talking about food and how we cook and all this stuff. So there'll be something coming. That's actually one of the things that I want to talk about. But we're running out of time. So a couple last things. So games are part of also the thing, but like games are definitely at the bottom of the list because they take a long time to develop, and we have a lot of great concepts. And I think that's one of those things where as excited we are to like finish those now. They gotta go in the back burner. But maybe like little small games for mobile, that could probably work. Something that's fun and unique though, because it's like everybody's doing a match 3 puzzle game, and I love those games, but they're a dime a dozen. Podcasting, so there's still so much opportunity in the podcasting space. FeedBurner, we need an alternative to it because I feel like Google any day is just gonna shut down FeedBurner, and we're all gonna be screwed. So we want to come up with an alternative for FeedBurner. We're gonna come out with tools for podcasters. And that's gonna be part of the stuff we've mentioned before, and also a new aggregate feed. I've been trying different things out. I'm not liking the results, so I might be coding something new that will allow us to mix multiple feeds and produce a dynamic feed, and then we could put that on iTunes and Stitcher and all that stuff. So that might be something that we could, because there's some other ones like Feedly and this Feedcat and RSS Mix, but most of them do not fit the bill for podcasting, or they just lack that functionality that we need. So you'll see what we're talking about. But if you look at our show notes, you can see some of the questions that we're kind of thinking about. Some of the things you can think about when you're working on your next small thing is, how do we execute on a simple concept and launch ASAP? That's kind of what we talk about when we talk about MVP, a minimally viable product. How do you hone in on the core experience and have a simple value proposition or unique selling proposition, a USP? How do you drive value consistently through messaging? So every time you can't make a contact, you have a touch point. It's creating another first date, a first impression that will be positive and consistent with what your overall strategy is. How do you iterate from that minimally viable product and expand and diversify and stay agile and responsive? Solving today's needs and while anticipating the future. That's another big challenge. There's a need today. There's a void today. There's an opportunity today. How do you just laser focus on that, and then how do you build upon that to anticipate future needs? And that's both meeting a need and identifying a trend, and also creating a new trend. You could do both with a product, with any kind of venture. It's tricky though, because usually you either jumping on a bandwagon or you're creating your own bandwagon, you're riding a wave or you're creating a wave. They don't need to be mutually exclusive, but they often are. And finally, what are the pain points, really? Like, what are the problems you're solving? What are you actually doing? And I find that the best projects, the projects that I'm always excited about, that I like to support, that I follow through with myself, and I find this is common with a lot of us, they're things that we look for a solution. We're looking for a type of experience, like a game, some content, whatever it is, and we look for it, and it's not out there. And we finally get so fed up that no one else has made it that we just decide to do it ourselves. Carbon Games did that with AirMech, which for years we were saying, for over 2 decades, we were saying, man, someone needs to make a follow-up, a spiritual successor to Herzog Zwei. And then they did it. Now hopefully someone does that with Panzer Dragoon Saga, and it's actually legit, not like that BS Kickstarter that was there. Sadly, was a scam apparently. But that's all the time we have for the show today. Where can people find you?
You guys can find me anywhere, usually on Obi1X2. Twitter is TSE at TSE Obi1. And of course, the new YouTube page is TSE Obi-Wan Kenobi. Come check it out. We're doing some vlogs and some daily gameplay and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you guys can, and of course, not Timey Wimey Tea Time, NSFW, Not Safe for Wrestling podcast, and of course, Horseplay Live every Thursday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on GeekyAntics.net. Yeah.
All right. And I'm YogiZilla everywhere. You can look me up on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Xbox Live, Steam. We're going to be hosting, for those that are live, we're going to be hosting Morgana Freya, one of our stream team members, and one of the few people that really comes through consistently. We love her. So make sure you stay tuned after we finish the show and head over to her channel. And yeah, we'll see you for TWTT in 2 weeks. Unless we take a little break. Before we might take a little break actually before Doctor Who comes back, so we could get some project work done and get some other things out of pre-production and launch some more products, some more goodies. But that's it, folks. We'll catch you. Make sure you're plugged into our network, GeekyAntics.net, Facebook.com/GeekyAntics, and get involved. Because if you're not involved, it doesn't matter how much you love what we're doing. You know, if you're not visible, it's like you're not there. And so take a few minutes, a few seconds out to comment on something, to let someone know you like what they're doing. You know, be visible, get involved, because you're not in it. If you're not in it, you can't win it. And that's my the more you know moment.
Shizzle, my nizzle.
All right, here we go. Outro music and all that stuff. We'll catch you guys next time.
See you guys.
We thank you. We thank you for every crumb, biscuit and cake you bring to the table. Because Doctor Who belongs to all of us. What you bring to the timey-wimey tea time in your live chat participation, comments, likes, shares, tweets and voicemail, all of it means the world to us. Love, true love, never fails. Do you like it? If you like what we're doing, well, tell us for God's sake. Shout it from the rooftops at geekyantics.net. Or call it in, 206-415-4987. That's 206-415-4987. That's it. Bless you. So long. And thanks for all the fish. Dawn, it won't be that long. Just a wee while. Because the timey-wimey tea time will be back. We'll return next Saturday with fresh insights, questions and epiphanies about Doctor Who. And heck yes, everything geek. Maybe same bat time. Absolutely the same bat channel. Every Saturday.
Tiny Whiny Tea Time.